welcome, welcome, welcome. I told you I would be returning, and here I am. So glad to have you with me again. This is the second video of the day. Now, some of you may have been here when I mentioned that yes, school is out, the students are gone. However, I am still working in the summertime. So, um, but still, by me not having to go in, knowing I don't have to go in and teach, I will have more time to do. I usually do more videos in the summertime, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, the Arena Uncensored made it. How you doing? All right, I will do the roll call momentarily. Now, uh, how you doing? Oh, Sugar Daddy, I have not seen you in forever. Except in Mark Holmes' chat, but so glad that you're here. Sugar Daddy, if you will, share this stream out, love, on your Facebook pages. All of you, hit that like button. We are still trying to grow the channel, and much to the chagrin of YT, they're not helping the situation. So we're kind of those of us who are smaller content creators, smaller channels. We're just gonna have to find a way around the Y2 conundrum. Okay. Um, I don't know what they're doing. I have people who drop in all the time asking me and what's going on. I'm like, I do not know. All right. So hit that like button. It won't cost you anything. If you have Facebook, if you have Truth Social, if you have Instagram, whatever form of social media that you have, I would appreciate it if you would share this video out. We could bring more people in, and the more people who come in, the more the merrier. And if they hit the like button, hey, guess what? YouTube may say there's some great content going on over there, and they may um, actually add it to people's recommended feed. They may see it, so who knows, right? All right. I'll do the roll call. If you'd like for me to call your name, you can just say hello, or you can send an emoji if you want to be called during the roll call. Diane, how are you? And Jeffrey, of course, is back. Jeffrey was here earlier. Mayor was here earlier. Florida, how are you, dear? The Arena Uncensored. Thank you, Jeffrey. Cami is back. Thank you. Uh, Sugar Daddy, the video doesn't lie, sis. Okay. Thank you so much, Sugar Daddy, for your support. Dorian is back. Laurie, of course, is back. And when I talk about a controversial topic, I have to preface uh, the live chat with so let's all be mindful, folks. We have people, not our regulars, but people who are just randomly dropping in live chats and just saying all kinds of horrible things. First of all, the people in this live chat, most of us are Generation Xers. So, do we always agree on everything? No, we don't. I may have a different point of view than Sugar Daddy, than Laurie, Anthony. That's okay. Um, that doesn't mean that we're going to browbeat or call each other names. You have your opinion, and I may have a different opinion. That's fine. That's the American way, folks. So, with this particular topic, we know it's controversial. And a lot of people are saying that, oh, Trump's going to pardon him, which, even if he pardoned him for the federal charges, he's still not going to get out of jail because of the state charges. And he is in Minnesota uh, with Tampon Tim. And we know that's not going to happen. How you doing, Tina? Monique is back. Tina's back. Thank you so much, everyone who's here. So I will say this. Dorian, okay, love, I didn't know you were Generation X. All right. Let me say this, folks. And I've said this when I talked about this before. None of us are saying we are glad he's gone. Da 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 da. So, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I don't like the fact that the libs, okay, the loonies, have placed him uh, on a pedestal like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And of course, there are busts of him everywhere. Black Lives Matter. We all know what went on with that. So, from the research I've done, because sometimes there are controversial topics and people are like, when are you going to talk about this? I sometimes like to let it marinate, let more information come out before I jump on here just talking da 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 da, so I don't have to do any retracting. Jeffrey said that just ruined a man's life for someone who was on drugs. So, Jeffrey, there are a lot of things that some more truths are coming out, and they would not, allow that information to come out because they wanted a conviction. And then I was watching a video with some of the jurors, and they were afraid they were going to burn down Minneapolis. So, my thing is this: we all hate that he died, but let's be truthful about, okay, his pre-existing health conditions and the drugs that were in his system. Now, did the knee on the neck help him? No, it did not. But I like Vince Ellison and his take. Those of you, we've talked about him before. He's no holds barred. He calls a spade a spade. How whatever he sees, that's what he says. And so, Dorian, they even compared this man's death to Emmett Till. Right. So Jeffrey, he had a troubled life right here in the 3rd Ward in Houston. Yeah. Martyrs come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and backgrounds. Okay, Sugar Daddy. All right. So, and again, my opinion is now that more information is coming out. How you doing, Malik? Hit the like button, everyone who's coming in. Let's see if he deserves another trial. And again, everyone may have a different opinion. That's fine. Dorian, Candace Owens exposed his background, and people were mad at her for saying, yeah. So and none of us is saying he deserved to die. I never said that. I don't know of anyone in the chat that has said that. So, but we're just saying, stop making him out to be a saint. And again, every time I look at that video, I said this before, and I did some digging. And I said that was kind of personal, I thought. Where, of course, the loonies are like, oh, it's because he was black, and everything is racial with them. Everything is not racial because something happens between a black person and a white person. A lot of people didn't know they used to work together. Chauvin worked together. They worked together at some club. I think Floyd was a bouncer, and Chauvin, he was doing that part-time when he wasn't at the how you doing, Jermaine? When he was not working at the police department. And so from what I read, Floyd had complained to a supervisor about Chauvin, allegedly that he mistreated, I guess, black people, brown people in the club. So who knows people, their motivation. So I'm just saying, sometimes people have an opportunity to get back at someone and they're like, okay, I'm going to get you now. Has nothing to do with race. The only person that knows if it was about race is Derek Chauvin. So I don't listen to these race hustlers and poverty pimps. But in my eyes, again, they did not let all of the information, they didn't release all the information. So now we're hearing more and more information about the entire case. Tina, you do. So I love Vince Ellison. He breaks it down. I love, the way he looks at things. I agree with his thought processes. How now this guy Vince Ellison, he talks trash about Dr. Martin Luther King, so he just doesn't care. He's like Trump Jr. That's just who he is. I mean, and I'm okay with that. Again, this is America. That's his opinion. Okay. So let's hear what he has to say. And again, share this stream out and let's see if we can bring more people into the conversation.
On the Vince Everett Ellison show, they've been talking about pardoning Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd. Yeah, that's interesting. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that today for a little bit on the Vince Everett Ellison show.
And type in the comment section, and no one's going to browbeat you. Authority theoretically comes with responsibility. It does, Sugar Daddy, it does. So tell me in the comment section what your thoughts are on Chauvin. Should he be released? And, recently, he was stabbed several times in jail. And now he's in solitary confinement. So he's having a rough time. And I always say this, folks. You, me, Cammie, Jermaine, Tina, Sugar Daddy, Jeffrey, Dorian, Ruby, all of us, Mayor, Baldwin Birds, Arena, all of us in the chat. No one gets away with anything. So as I said, only Derek Chauvin knows if it was racially motivated. I don't listen to all these race hustlers out here because they have an ulterior motive. Only he knows that. Ruby, George Floyd was a drug user and a criminal, but he did not deserve to die at the hands of an out-of-control police officer. Ruby, excellent point. Excellent point. That's what I'm saying. None of us here is saying he deserved it and who cares that no, someone lost their life. Monique said no, he shouldn't be released. Okay, type it in the comment section. Should he be released? If you say yes, type yes. If you say no, type no, which is not, it's not going to happen, but it's still good to see. They were just making him out to be this saint. And of course, Candace Owens, she will expose you quickly. So again, no one's glad he lost his life. And Chauvin, only he knows if he did it because George Floyd was black. And he had reported him to their supervisor. So, he didn't have good feelings for this guy. And he probably saw this as his opportunity to get back at him. Anthony said he should not have been convicted. Okay, in the first place. So, yeah. Tina said, no, he should not be released. Okay. And Tina, all of you, as I play the video, you'll see that's not happening. Tampon Tim is not going to let him out of jail. You know that. Anna Caprician from the Young Turk said that a whole lot of lies were told behind the George Floyd death. There were multiple videos. It wasn't released. It showed his death from different angles. Cammie, right? You're absolutely right. But the lamestream media, they will share what they want you to see. So let's listen to this, folks.
All right, let's get this thing started. The George Floyd case was a horrible, horrible case. I remember the morning I woke up and I saw it. This man looked like slowly executed in front of the world. Derek Chauvin was a police officer that had his knee, looked like he had his knee on George Floyd, on the back of his neck. It looked like he was choking him to death. And it looks like George Floyd was screaming and yelling for mercy, screaming for his mother and screaming for God and screaming for help until he just slowly and slowly and slowly expired. And the whole world saw it and was aghast that this could happen in America.
All right, I'm trying to keep up with your comments in the comment section. Dora, yeah, it's not going to happen. Not with Tampon Tim still, that it's not happening.
Video is a powerful thing. You can hear about a thing, you hear about a thing, you hear about a thing, but to see a thing makes it absolutely positively different. And everybody wanted blood. Yeah. Derek Chauvin, the police officer who was responsible for it, he was made into a Hitler. He was burned in effigy. There were riots. Y'all remember it. It was bedlam here in America. Well, something is happening now. Years afterward, they put Derek Chauvin on trial. Derek Chauvin is in jail for the murder of George Floyd. And now there's information coming out that is saying that Chauvin may not, the knee on the back of George Floyd's neck may not have been the cause of George Floyd's death. That his death may have been caused by other factors. Number one, the fentanyl and the drugs that were in his system, the fact that he had COVID, the fact that he had high blood pressure, he had all these other comorbidities that could have caused his death. And that asphyxiation, the knee on the back of the neck, where you choke somebody to death, was not the cause
of those victims.
Okay, so
Chauvin was
we're going to listen to this, and then I'm going to try to keep up with your comments. If I miss a comment, just type it again, or I'm going to try to keep up. But normally when we're talking about something this controversial, they're zooming by. But I will do my best. Thank you.
As you know, a police officer in Minneapolis who went to work in May of 2020 with the goal of protecting his community from violent felons, people like George Floyd. He's been sentenced to more than 2 decades in prison because Floyd, who had a recent history of overdoses, died in his custody while high on fatal levels of fentanyl. Now, the issue of causation was the single most important issue of the trial. That is the question of whether Chauvin actually killed Floyd. If Chauvin's actions weren't a substantial factor, quote unquote, in Floyd's death, then under Minnesota law, he's innocent. And that pretty much sums up the entire case. That's the whole thing. But after the trial was over, the jury came out and publicly admitted that they didn't really care about this issue at all. Causation just didn't really matter to them. They gave an interview with CNN where they explained that, in their view, Chauvin's actions didn't matter at all. Instead, they determined that Chauvin was guilty because of what he didn't do. They didn't convict him for murdering Floyd. They didn't convict him because his actions caused Floyd's death. Instead, they convicted him for failing to care for George Floyd in some kind of unspecified way. Watch.
We got to the point actually that we realized for charge 2, at some point, I think it was Jody, I'm pretty sure it was Jody, said, wait a minute, does the intended act of harm have to be the death of George Floyd, or can it be him not providing the life support? And it was like all of a sudden light bulbs just went on for those people, I think, that were undecided or on the not guilty side.
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear from you, Jody. Why is it you brought that up? What did you?
I brought that up because
Tell me what you brought up and why.
I brought up to the fact that this is not what he did, but more or less what he didn't do. He did not provide life-saving measures for George Floyd when he knew that the guy was in pain or needed medical attention.
Why do you think that was a light bulb?
Well, when we were in deliberations, and Jody did bring that up, and we did look through everything very, very carefully, what I thought about is something that was said during the trial, and that is Minneapolis Police Department has a motto. And if I'm understanding it correctly, their motto is in our custody, in our care. George Floyd was in their custody. He was never in their care. And that, for me, it just hit hard.
There is one person that President Trump should pardon from federal charges forthwith. It would be incredibly controversial, but I think that it's absolutely necessary. That person is Derek Chauvin. President Trump should, in fact, pardon Derek Chauvin. He should. He should pardon him his federal charges. If we are talking about reversing the evils of the last several years in American life, obviously COVID and its handling was a massive evil. Destroyed the economy, set us on a path to fiscal insanity, destroyed children, led to massive health-related cover-ups, just horrifying all the way around. And President Trump has taken on a lot of those things. But when it came to BLM, the inciting event for the BLM riots that caused $2 billion in property damage in the United States and set America's race relations on their worst footing in my lifetime, was in fact the railroading of Derek Chauvin in the death of George Floyd. The evidence demonstrates that Derek Chauvin did not, in fact, commit murder of George Floyd. George Floyd was high on, he had a significant pre-existing heart condition. George Floyd was saying he could not breathe before he was even out of the car. He was in the car saying he could not breathe. Derek Chauvin, for large segments of even the tape that was shown, had his knee on George Floyd's shoulder or back, not on his neck. The autopsy of George Floyd showed that he had no damage to his trachea, that probably George Floyd died of excited delirium. There were no accusations, even at trial, that Derek Chauvin had committed a hate crime against George Floyd or that he targeted George Floyd because of his race. Nonetheless, on the basis of extraordinarily scanty evidence, and despite the fact there was massive pressure on the jury, that the mayor of Minneapolis paid a settlement to the George Floyd family immediately, that the president of the United States suggested that Derek Chauvin was guilty right off the bat, that the jurors were being openly threatened and admitted as much. Despite all of that, Derek Chauvin was convicted on federal charges and pled guilty to federal charges.
I think that this was known during the trial. And that's what people are saying, that this was known during the trial. But a lot of evidence was not allowed to come into the trial because people were afraid that if Derek Chauvin got off, all hell would break loose. The theory is that Chauvin was a scapegoat, and that he was a sacrificial lamb to keep the cities from burning, because Black Lives Matter, a lot of these black militant groups, and a lot of people on the left from Antifa and all these people were really on a war path. And this is the closest America had been to a civil war in a very, very, very long time. And they believed that if Derek Chauvin was found not guilty, he was going to make, it was going to, that the riots that came about after the Rodney King trial were going to.
How many of you are old enough to remember the Rodney King, the LA riots? I was in college at the time. Anyone, just type it 1 in the comment section if you remember that. In LA, in the most liberal state in the union, California. I sat there and I watched as it burned. I was like, OMG. All right, here we go. All right, so let's see who. Okay, most of you remember that. Yeah. And Rodney King, RIP, because he's deceased now. Thomas, you remember the riots? Yes, of the 90s. Yes. How you doing, Conscious Moron? Yes, Conscious Moron. I remember that. Yeah, they beat him into a stupor. I remember that. Dorian, yeah, I again, you're right. That's why with the OJ trial, they remembered all of these things that had happened, and people are like, all right, here's my time, right? How you doing, Jobs? Thank you for your service, sir. Let me continue.
Going to look like a Boy Scout cookout in comparison. So in other words, he had to go. Well, now people are talking about maybe we need to take another look at this thing. You know, he just got attacked in prison this past year. I think an inmate stabbed him 14, 15 times, tried to kill him. Guys in solitary confinement. And the question becomes to me, why is this such a big deal? I think we need to talk about that. Why is it dangerous to pardon this man if he in fact did not commit the crime of murder? Let's stop. Now, I think Derek Chauvin got federal charges and he got state charges. So when you deal with the state charges, that's where Tampon Tim comes in, and you know he's not going to do anything.
Nope, he's not.
You can give that up. I think that a pardon from the state level is impossible. I think that a pardon from the federal level is also impossible. I think the only way Derek Chauvin gets out of jail is that a judge has to have the nerve, the moxie, or the empathy, or the intestinal fortitude to do it if, in fact, the facts prove that this is what happened. I don't see it happening. I don't care if they prove that Derek Chauvin, that the dude that had his neck on George Floyd's neck, that had his knee on George Floyd's neck, they can prove that that wasn't Derek Chauvin, that Derek Chauvin was in Thailand that night, and that that dude was somebody else that got on a plane and flew to Acapulco. They're not going to care. Whoever they got in jail is going to stay in jail because they don't want to make these crazy Negroes angry and have them burning down this country again. Now, why do the Democrats need George Floyd? Why is this so important that George Floyd remain a martyr in America? Why does it have to be like the Martin Luther King situation, that all of these proclivities have to be covered, that we need this martyr and we need to have him risen to sainthood? The same reason why they need King. No matter what you bring out on Martin Luther King Jr., it does not matter. The history books and the powers that be are going to say that he was the greatest civil rights leader and the greatest black person in the history of the world. You can show he was a communist. You can show he was a hoe chaser. You can show that he was a drunk. You can show that he cared nothing about black people. You can show that black people haven't done anything. Anything since the death of Martin Luther King Jr. when it comes down to the aggregate. You can show that more black boys dropping out of school, black family destroyed, black businesses destroyed, black men in prison, AIDS, alcoholism, suicide. I mean, there it is. It doesn't matter. King has to be held on this pedestal. Why? Because as long as we believe this lie about him, we're going to also believe the lie about ourselves as black people. And that is, we are oppressed. We are hated by our nation.
Okay, and have we not been saying that for the past year or two? That is the mantra, the page straight from the liberal playbook. And this is what they drive into your brain from the cradle to the grave. You are oppressed. You are hated. You cannot make it in America because of white supremacy and racism. That's what they tell you day in, day out. Roland's Review. Okay. Oh, you were in college too at the time, Sugar Daddy. All right, Sugar Daddy. Okay. Cammy, get into that victimhood bag and identity politics. Boom. Exactly. Jeffrey, pardon my stupid keyboard. That's okay, Jeffrey. You're fine. They're not going to say how the FBI had a hand in his death and others. Yeah, you know how they share what they want us to know. Yeah, and Cammy, even if Trump did, he's still in on state charges, and you know, they're ultra left. You know that's not happening, right? So, all right, I'll continue.
We need to be protected by our own masters from the slave plantation, and those are the Democratic Party. And the conduits, the Iron Triangle, the black preachers, the black politicians, and the black civil rights workers are the ones that get us that protection. How does George Floyd fit into that? George is now the new martyr. They tell us, look at what's going on with George Floyd. Look at what happened to him. That can happen to each and every last one of you if you don't keep us in power. Again,
Fear-mongering, gaslighting, that's how they stay in power. Keep us in power. We will protect you. And it's all one big lie. That's all it is, folks. How you doing, lovely Apple? Hit the like button for me, please, dear. Tijuana border jumper, you made it back, dear. Hit that like button. Those of you who are here who have Facebook, share this stream out. Bring more people into the conversation. So yeah, so again, I love his take on it. And they use these situations to hold Black Americans hostage. And again, it's like, see, we told you, racism, white supremacy, you can't make it. Look at what they're doing. And they're here in the background causing all the problems. Yes, Jeffrey, they did. So lovely. We're talking about, I think Ben Shapiro started the rumor, can Trump pardon Derek Chauvin? But again, even if he does, he still has state charges, so he's still not going anywhere. And Tampon Tim is not going to let him out of jail. So it is what it is. All right. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and just continue to comment, folks. I'm enjoying this. All right, let me continue. All right, let me get rid of this commercial. Let me see what your chat. Jesse says, no, he shouldn't be released. Okay, hit the like button for me. Jesse, Vipa, how are you? Vipa says it will definitely happen again if we let the Democrats back in power. Yeah, they have to keep stoking the flames. They have to keep you upset, in fear, that you better vote for us. And then people continue to vote for them and they don't do anything for Americans. So it's a vicious cycle. Like Stockholm syndrome. I think we'd mentioned that before too. So Dorian, I heard the left wanted to put his name on a police reform bill as symbol. Yeah, all they do is give you symbolism. That's it. They're not going to do anything for you. Sugar Daddy said Larry Hoover has state charges too. Ain't going nowhere. Facts. Yep. Mayor destroyed all the history statues, but put up a Floyd statue. Yeah, Mayor, right? This is what they do. The loonies do. All right, I'll continue.
Look at George Floyd. We want you to be him. That's just like Martin Luther King Jr., right? We want you to emulate King. What was King? King laid down on the streets. He let himself get beat. He let himself go to jail. He wouldn't defend himself. He wouldn't defend his family. He went to the government for everything that he wanted. He did not go to God. He didn't do what Abraham Lincoln said. If your so-called superiors believe that you are not free, you must teach them that you are free by using the sword and the bayonet. Now, Martin Luther King's remedy to being mistreated or teaching your so-called superiors that you were free, his remedy was lay down and let them beat you until they get tired. And when they get tired of beating you, you can get up with your broken body and say, now, can I sit on the toilet beside you? And he'll just let you sit on the toilet beside him because he just got tired of beating the hell out of you. And he said, man, I don't feel like beating this boy no more. So I guess I'm going to let him sit down on the toilet beside me because this joker can show enough take a butt whipping.
Now I told you, Vince Ellison, he's Trump Jr. He says whatever. So, but you get the point. Dorian, yeah, they want to tear down Confederate statues as a way to end racism, which they were wrong. James says, give everything to the American Indians and call it a day. Okay, James. Ruby, thank you. Lovely Apple, God will not accept any idols or let you raise them up. Boom. Yes. Remember one George Kirby Pelosi called him that mural was hit by lightning and destroyed. Yes, Tijuana. I remember that. What is the Bible? Someone just quoted the Bible. Thou shalt have no other idols before you. Yes, absolutely right. And that's exactly what they did with George Floyd. He even admitted his dream was a nightmare. Okay, Dorian. All right, here we go. You're right.
Is that respect? I'm just tired of beating him, man. I'm just tired. Let him have what he wants. I'm just tired of beating the hell out of him. The claim to fame from the civil rights movement that black people damn sure can take ass whoopings. And we tired of whooping them, so just let them. And that's not respect, that's pity. Lord have mercy. So George Floyd comes up. He same thing. George laying down, begging, slobbering, hollering for his mama. We got it on television. Big, strong black man screaming for help. He was unemployed. He was a drug addict. He was a criminal. He was unmarried. He had been in jail. And they say, that's the prototypical black man right there.
Ever notice, again, the people that the left decides to, pay homage to, just like we did a video, some of you may have been here, we did the video on the statue that they placed in Times Square that I guess is supposed to represent all black women in America. How you doing, OG? And it's a joke. This is what they think of you, and they're mocking you, and you don't even know it. And so what are your thoughts on that? Brother OG, we're glad you're here. You're absolutely right. Sugar Daddy, absolutely right. Okay. Where are we? I think I missed. Okay. Yep. Thomas, no idols. All right, here we go.
We're going to make him the hero of Black America. And no matter what, he needs to be lionized. And we need to let black people know that if you don't keep us elected into power, that's going to be you. And it worked. The American people, the black people voted for Joe Biden and voted for Kamala Harris based upon that fear. So BLM, NAACP, the Black Caucus, and the Democratic Party, they need George Floyd. They need George Floyd, and they have, and they need Derek Chauvin as a boogeyman of white oppression. George Floyd here, the poor black runaways, the poor black slave on the plantation that just want to get free, and Derek Chauvin, the evil white man that is just oppressor. But
and again, we've talked about this scenario on this channel quite often. And again, they have to make it so that, it's still the master slave, if you understand what I'm saying, relationship. You can't make it on your own. You need us to protect you. It's still the master slave relationship, folks. Mike Nice, how you doing, dear? And Cammie, yes. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Anytime an incident like this happens, I'm going to tell you, BLM, Al Sharpton, all of these other race hustlers, they don't give a darn about George Floyd. Let's be clear. But anytime an incident happens in this country, all right, they see dollar signs in their eyes. As Cammie said, I think BLM raised $90 million behind George Floyd, in George Floyd's name. How much did his daughter receive? Zero. So, situations like that, it's all a money. It's just a scam, a money grab. Again, the race hustlers, the usual suspects, the black gatekeepers, they're doing the same thing. When something happens, here they come. And if you're so concerned, again, with Black Americans, I don't see you in Detroit. I don't see you in Chicago. All of these other blue cities where Black males are killing each other in droves. No one says a word. Black Lives Matter raised millions and millions of dollars. I don't see them in any of the impoverished Black communities trying to help. But they went out and bought some in California, bought some mansions for themselves. So it's just a money grab. And they don't care. When something happens to someone, here they come. They could care less about those people. It's all a joke to them. Vipa, yes, BLM was a sham, and we know that. Yes. Cammy, over $60 million of that 90 million is still unaccounted for. Yeah, Cammy, they're still looking for that money. Exactly. Dorian said they did that with George Zimmerman. Yes, Dorian, I did a video on that. Yes, I did some research. They made him out to be the biggest racist. And I learned a lot about him, and that's not the case. But when a situation like that happens, that's the narrative. That's their go-to because it's always worked. They're not going to change as long as it continues to work. All right, James. Dorian, they use all that donation money for $1 million mansions and escort. Yeah. Yes, they are. Yes, Dorian. Facts. Yes, rainbow people came up with the BLM. Yes, they did. So even though it says Black Lives Matter, that's only in name. That organization has done nothing but collect money. Yeah, I'll continue.
But it's pretty interesting. A lot of these analogies are actually true because, as you know, Minneapolis is a Democrat-run city, and Minnesota is a Democrat-run state.
Yep.
And George Floyd was on the plantation of the Minneapolis Democrat-controlled city and the Minneapolis Democrat-controlled state. So Tampon Tim, who was Kamala Harris's running mate, hell, was getting a promotion after George Floyd. Yeah. Hell, Tampon Tim was on the ticket, man. They're trying to say he's a front runner in 2028. Hell, they killed George Floyd and got famous. They made him a poster child for Black people to say, this is what you want to aspire to be. The Black Caucus need George Floyd, man. I think they got murals and pictures and statues, and I think George Floyd might get a national holiday. They may even put his statue right beside Martin Luther King. It would match. But his life was a tragedy.
And they benefited off of this tragedy. And again, they didn't care anything about him or his family. But they saw the dollar signs. How you doing, Ricky? And that's just every time there's a situation where there's a white and a Black person involved, here they come. Right? That's just how it goes. Until people stop paying attention to them, it will continue. Hit the like button for me, please, folks. Thank you so much. Let's continue.
Raised in the ghetto, single mother, end up in prison 4 or 5 times, drug addict. I mean, Floyd was a terrible human being. Had enough fentanyl in him that day. I mean, when you saw all of the tapes, how he was fighting and cussing and raising hell. I mean, he was a criminal, man. And now they have a problem. They just might have enough information out there where Derek Chauvin might just get a new trial. Or there might be enough misconduct where he might be set free. But people talking about a pardon? No. I don't think no one in America has a political will, even Donald Trump, to pardon Derek Chauvin. And I don't think that Trump could if he wanted to, because, again, his federal charges, he got some federal charges on him. But he's not in federal prison right now. Derek Chauvin's in state prison. And that means if he's going to get a pardon, that pardon's going to have to come from the state of Minnesota. And that's going to have to come from Tampon Tam. And believe me, that's not going to happen.
It's not.
I don't care. Again, I don't care what they show, Tampon Tim. Tampon Tim Waltz is not going to release Derek Chauvin. Now, backstory, the reason why they call him Tampon Tim Waltz is because when Tampon Tim was governor of Minnesota, he still is, they wanted to pass a little law that says that, let's put some tampons in girls' bathrooms because young ladies, they leave home, they might not know that their cycles are going to come home. And that makes sense. Make sure they have some tampons in their bathrooms so they can take care of themselves. Makes sense. But Tampon Tim said, well, if you're going to put them in girls' bathrooms, you got to put them in boys' bathrooms too. And the question is, well, why would you put tampons in boys' bathrooms, Governor Waltz? Because boys menstruate. What Tampon Tim was trying to say was that you might have a girl who says that she is a boy that goes into a boy's bathroom, and that girl who claims that she is a boy might get on his cycle, and that he needs to have tampons when he's in the boy's bathroom. Anybody with common sense would say, well, Tampon Tim, if that person is menstruating, that means that she's not a boy, she's a girl, and she should be in the girl's bathroom, right? Since Tampon Tim's a Democrat, Tampon Tim's insane. And that didn't make any sense to Tampon Tim.
Woo!
He said, no. If the boys can menstruate, so leave. This is the guy that's got to deal with this case, y'all. That's the point. So if Derek Chauvin is waiting for Tampon Tim to give him a pardon, Derek Chauvin can kiss his ass goodbye. That ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. The only way that Derek Chauvin gets out of jail, if in fact the evidence shows that he did not murder George Floyd, is that some judge who cannot be kicked out of office for making this pronouncement, some judge is going to have to sign off on it. He said, we have had a injustice here. The facts have changed. The evidence shows us that Derek Chauvin did not kill George Floyd, that George Floyd died of a drug overdose, whatever it was. And because of this, these murder charges are taken off, and this police officer can walk. That's how it's going to happen. So all you people out there that are thinking that George Floyd is getting ready to walk based upon a governor's pardon, or
He meant to say Derek Chauvin.
a presidential pardon, you can cancel that. That's not going to happen. All right? I don't care what the evidence shows. I don't care what the evidence says.
Yeah, he's what Minnesota is blue. Blue by you. So and if a man says he has to have he wants tampons in the boys' bathroom, you already know, again, he's gone. You can't get anything from him because he's past insane. Okay. So let's go ahead and play this.
I don't care who presents the evidence to a politician. No politician is going to do this because everybody knows that the Black Caucus and BLM and the Democratic Party are just waiting in the docks for it. And they're going to come out like sprinters. And they're going to burn this country down. They don't care anything about the facts. They don't care anything about justice.
See what I'm saying? They come out of the woodworks when there's an incident. They don't care about the people who are involved. They care about their photo ops. And again, they're collecting money and America is so racist. The same old spiel. Nothing changes, folks. Charles Hill, how you doing, love? Hit the like button for me. Also, if you are enjoying this content, I think you're new here. Hit the subscribe button as well, dear. Thank you. Charles says, I am no friend to bad cops, and I know nothing about this cop, but he never had his knee pressing on Floyd's neck. I did say and believe he should have gotten help to Floyd, but he never murdered him. Okay, Charles. Jeffrey, yes. Money. Thank you, Charles. Anthony, remember Tim bashed Ellen and Tesla, and turned out they had their Tesla stock. Yeah, they're they're full of it. Thank you so much, Charles. And like I said, I love having these conversations. And this is how I look at everything, folks. Now, again, I'm not a preacher, a minister, anything like that. But I say, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. And so if it's God's will for him to be released, he will be. If not, he won't. That's just, when you look at things from a spiritual standpoint, that's just how it goes, folks. Monique said, what do you mean? We all saw it on TV. He had his knee in his neck. Okay. All right, here we go.
They're all in their feelings. You don't care anything about any of that.
And again, the Democrats, since they lost the White House, the Senate, they're looking for an opening, right? They are definitely looking for an opening to spearhead and kick off a campaign. So we know, if you were here, I did the video. They're spending $20 million. They're holed up in luxury hotels trying to get the mail votes back. So if something like this happens again, they're coming out of the woodwork. See, look at what they're doing. Racism, white supremacy. Again, the spiel. I don't have to tell you. This is what they do. Diane, once Mr. Floyd said, I can't breathe, he received no help. That's the red flag. Okay, Diane. Yeah, he should have gotten the man some help. Monique, there were several videos from multiple angles. The media didn't show everything, and they kept information from the public. Cammie, that's what I learned in my research. They shared some. They did not share all because they wanted a conviction. Now I found that in my research, so I know that to be truthful. Again, that's why these controversial cases, that sometimes I try not to say too much, or I'll wait before I do a video, because there's always something else, it seems, coming out. Jeffrey, I had a knee in the back of my neck by Houston police. Ooh. The Houston Police Department, somebody called in and said I was shooting up the neighborhood. Never found a gun or nothing. I didn't die. Not on drugs. Okay. And again, he was on drugs, and he already had a whole plethora of health issues. But again, the left, when something like this happens, the narrative is racist white police officer kills black man. That's what they use, folks. It is. And again, they're just waiting in the wings, as Mr. Ellison said, to see if someone's going to try. And it's not happening because of the state he's in. He's in Minnesota, so it's not happening. Mayor Floyd was having a panic attack. Okay. Ruby, they're highlighting the knee on the back of the neck and not the throat. Okay. Dorian, it's funny how they hated white supremacy, even though the party was built on white supremacy. Okay, those are the lefties. James, I don't have nothing to hide. A couple of my neighbors were out in the middle of the night watching the whole thing. Oh, wow, Jeffrey, we're glad you're okay, dear. All right, let me go ahead and get it going.
They don't care about any of it.
No.
Again, you're dealing with an evil institution, an evil party.
Yep.
The evilest party in the history of the world.
Have we not been saying that forever? They are evil. The Democrats are evil. They are demonic. All right. I'm not the only person saying that, folks. Charles, you only watch what they wanted you to see, Monique. That video is out there, and I wish I had saved it to show you. Okay. Yeah. So when they're trying to carve a certain narrative, they're not going to show you. They're going to show you what they want you to see so they can get a conviction. Who cares about the truth? We have to continue to pound into Black America's head. White supremacy and racism are holding you back. All police officers are racist. and they're trying to kill you. And that's the narrative. How many years have they been using it now? Since forever. Anthony, I thought they also said he followed police training and they lied during the trial. Yeah, so there are a lot of lies going on in this trial. Yeah. All right, here we go.
And I know y'all gonna say, what about the Nazis? What about the Nazis? The Nazis ruled for about 20 years and did a lot of damage in those 20 years. But the Democrats have been ruling for 225.
Everybody hear that? Everybody hear that? Okay, I'll continue.
And those suckers ain't never been no good. Even when it comes down to now, what they just did with Joe Biden, when people found out that Joe Biden had dementia and had cancer at the same time. And they still put him.
And
Finally, the perfect.
those of you who've been here on the channel for a while, how long? And those of you who are new to the channel, so you know I'm not making it up. We have been saying for over a year, Joe Biden had serious cognitive decline. Why? All of a sudden, now everyone is figuring out, oh, the Democrats were lying. They were lying about his cognitive decline. We've been talking about that for over a year. Ruby, got to run, team. Okay. Thank you, love, for dropping in. Hit the like button, folks. Thank you. Vipa, the Democrats are responsible for every bad thing that has happened in America. Okay. Kami, it's sad when African immigrants to America said they look at Black Americans like they are dumb for not seeing what they have in America. Yeah, Kami, that's why you keep hearing about delineation. And remember, Kami, I did a video. I don't know if you were here for it or not. The African woman who said she just hates Black Americans. If you want me to drop that link, just type yes in the comment section. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of hate to go around. And a lot of immigrant groups come over and, they're pitted against the people who are already here. It's sad, but that's what people do. They think that people like AOC and Jasmine Crockett will dethrone Trump. That'll never happen. All right, let's see if I can get this video finishing up here. Let me see.
Up for re-election. He had all the evidence that he was crazy as hell. He had it all. They didn't care. They don't care, y'all. So I know y'all been hearing about Derek Chauvin getting pardoned. And y'all kind of had some anxiety about that. Well, I'm here to put your anxiety to rest, because I'm here to tell you there's no politician out there, not one, that has the nerve to cut that boy loose. Not one. Unless the judge signs off on it, he's done. He's going to stay in jail, whether it is right or wrong. And I'm not privy to all the evidence.
Yep.
I am not. I'm just here to tell you, I don't care what the evidence is. I don't care what it is. Jesus Christ can come down and tell everybody that Derek Chauvin did not kill George Floyd, and they're gonna say, keep that white man locked up.
You hear what he said, didn't you, folks? If Jesus Christ himself came down here and said, no, he did not do it, he's still gonna sit there and rot in that jail. So again, they have a narrative. Tijuana, yes, Tijuana. He's spot on. Yes. I told you I call him Trump Jr. A lot of people don't like what he says, but he calls it as he sees it, and I like it. Tijuana said this man knows what he's talking about. Born on a plantation, parents were sharecroppers. This man is the real deal. Yes, Tijuana, you know it. They're still trying to lock up the J6. Yes, Jeffrey. All right, let me continue.
Elvis Presley can come back and tell everybody that Derek Chauvin did not kill George Floyd, and they're going to say, keep that white man locked up. can come back and tell everybody that Derek Chauvin didn't kill him. And they're going to say, keep that white man locked up. Justice doesn't matter on that side. This is politics. This is politics. So I want y'all to watch this. I want y'all to pay attention to what's going on here, because I'm going to bring it back to you every now and again, because I'm going to be paying attention to this kind of stuff, because I believe in justice. I'm going to give you the facts. I'm going to let you keep your eyes on these freaking Democrats, because I know they're no good. And I'm here to wake you up. I hope I did you some good today. So join me again for another edition of the Vince Everett Ellison Show.
So what are your thoughts, folks? Very thought-provoking in my eyes. Larry Elder bowed to Gavin Newsom. I lost my faith in him when he didn't challenge the recall election we had in California. Yeah, Tijuana, I was really rooting for him too. George Floyd himself, yeah, people, they don't care. As he said, they're like, he's white, we're keeping him locked up. And that's how they are. Emma, how you doing? I don't know them. On top of him, did stress the situation. Emma, I'm not sure what you're telling me, dear. Emma, hit the like button, love. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so now. So, you know, folks, what can we say, right? This is they don't care about these people. Yes, Jeffrey. I call him Trump Jr. People get angry. They don't like what he says. He does not care. I love it. He calls it what it is. And again, I think someone said something earlier about when she who was it? Candace Owens was talking about George Floyd. Oh, honey, they turned on her like you would not believe. And again, she was saying some of the same things that Vince Ellison was saying about him. You're making him out again. People who decide to watch the video, the replay, please don't leave nasty comments for me. I'm just giving you my opinion. None of us here in the chat is saying we are glad that he lost his life. None of us, okay? It's just there was a media net that the left, and we know they run the media, and so hey, they had a certain narrative that they wanted us to see. It was the same thing. I did a video on Trayvon Martin. Same thing. How you doing, Chris? Oh my God, Vince Ellison would shut him down quickly. Yeah, Cam, and I was really pulling for Larry Elder. Yeah. And, you know, as crooked as they are in that state, I don't know why he would not challenge, but I was really pulling for him. I really was. All right. And here's, of course, our girl Candace. And again, you know, we may not necessarily agree with everything that someone says, but when she came out, just like what Vince Ellison did, and told the history of George Floyd, and she was just doing it just like Vince Ellison was, because everyone was out here like he was just some Boy Scout. And the media narrative was, oh, you know, look what happened. Candace also said, right, Cammie, but you know, people have selective hearing. They didn't say anything about that. Thank you, Chubbs. So I'll play some of this too. Yeah, because you know she doesn't, because she said calls it like it is too. I love it.
Facebook family. I have decided to do this video. It has been weighing very heavily on my heart and on my mind as well. And it was something that I wanted to say early on, but there were so many emotions and so much pressure for me to go with the popular opinion about who George Floyd was. And sometimes it can be difficult when there are just so many external pressures to say what you believe. And this was an instance where I felt like my silence would have been better in the beginning, but the more that I think about it, I realize that we are being sold a lot of lies, and at the detriment to the Black community, at the detriment to the white community, and at the detriment to America as a whole. So I want to come out and say that I do not support George Floyd and the media depiction of him as a martyr for Black America. I'm going to explain why, and I hope that some of you guys will understand where I'm coming from. I have spent a considerable amount of time reading a lot of Black authors that I think are some of the most brilliant Black Americans breathing. Walter Williams, Shelby Steele, Thomas Sowell. And I recently came across something that was an idea that was planted into my head by Shelby Steele. And it has been something that I cannot forget. It is something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And it is something that I hope for the Black Americans that are watching will stick with you for the rest of your life. Shelby Steele said that the Black community is unique from other communities. Our culture is unique from other communities because we are the only community that caters to the bottom denominator of our society. Now, let me explain what that means. It means to say that not every Black American is a criminal, not every Black American is committing crimes, but we are unique in that we are the only people that fight and scream and demand support and justice for the people in our community that are up to no good. You would be hard pressed to find, a Jewish person who has spent 5 stints in prison, who commits a crime and dies while committing a crime, and that the Jewish people champion and demand justice for. You will be hard pressed to find this in white America. You'll be hard pressed to find this even in Latino America. If there is a person that is spent multiple times in prison, you are not going to see a bunch of Latinos coming out demanding justice for this person, even if, and I want to be very clear, what I'm saying is not any defense for Derek Chauvin. I hope Derek Chauvin gets the justice that he deserves to be, implemented upon him, and that the family of George Floyd deserves justice for the way that he died. But I also am not going to accept the narrative that this is the best the Black community has to offer. For whatever reason, it has become fashionable over the last 5 or 6 years for us to turn criminals into heroes overnight. And it is something that I find to be despicable, and it is something that I refuse to stand by any longer. And I am not going to play a part in it, no matter how much pressure comes from Black liberals and Black conservatives as some token of people wanting you to believe that this is the only way you can be Black, is you have to say this was wrong and that this person was amazing. I won't do that. George Floyd was not an amazing person. And as soon as this video hit the internet, I did just basic searches. Everyone jumped on it and was looking at the police officer, and everyone agrees that the police officer was wrong, and the police officer has been arrested. So that is not the reason I'm not discussing that, is because that is not something that has been misconstrued in the media. He has been turned into the devil that he is, and there is no reason for us to harp on that any longer, because white Americans are not uplifting Derek Chauvin as a victim or pretending that he's an amazing human being. But George Floyd is being uplifted as an amazing human being. And for those of you who have not yet seen the clips and did not pursue or wait for more clips to come out, first and foremost, George Floyd at the time of his arrest was high on fentanyl, and he was high on methamphetamine. This came back in both of his autopsy reports. If you pursue the 911 transcript, you can see the person describing somebody who is out of their mind high, and which is what made the person fearful, because he tried to use a bill that I guess was a fake bill to purchase something, and then he was outside acting weird, and they, in their police call, said that this person was obviously distorted and on drugs. When he is put into handcuffs and is put against the wall, a baggie of what looks to be like cocaine or it's white. It's a white baggie that he drops onto the floor that you can see in an image. If you look up the clip, the media is refusing to circulate it. You can find it on Twitter. If you use DuckDuckGo and look up George Floyd baggie, you can watch the clip yourself with your own eyes. He had drugs on him at the time of his arrest. Now, barring all of that, nobody thinks that he should have died during this arrest. But what I find despicable to be is that everyone is pretending that this man lived a heroic lifestyle when he didn't. And I want to talk about what his lifestyle was leading up to this moment, and why I refuse to accept the narrative that this person is a martyr or should be lifted up in the Black community, and that we should be buying T-shirts with his name on it. Okay. So here we have, first and foremost, let's start from the bottom of his record. And by the way, I am not saying that if you have a record, you don't deserve a second chance. I think people get arrested and some people can serve time in prison. And I believe in second chances, but I do draw the line when it comes to second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth chances. 1998, he spent 10 months in prison for theft with a firearm. That was the first prison stint that I could find on him. In 2002, he spent 8 months in prison for a cocaine offense. In 2004, just 2 years later, he spent another 10 months in prison for a cocaine offense. In 2005, he spent another 10 months in prison for having less than 1 gram of cocaine on him again. In 2007, and this was the biggest instant that I had that made me realize this was a horrible human being that I am not going to pretend was a good person. In 2005, a woman who was pregnant received a knock at the door, and she went to the door, and the person pretended to be someone that worked for the water department. So she opened her door and quickly realized that the person at her door did not work for the water department, and attempted to slam it. At the moment that she was attempting to slam it, a Ford pulled up, and another 5 men jumped out of the car, and one of which was George Floyd, came up to the door, and they forced their way inside to her home, inside of her home. Mind you, this woman is pregnant. At that point, George Floyd took out a gun and pressed it to her stomach. She was screaming, begging for her life, and he put her inside of her living room and instructed one of his criminal friends that was with him to watch her.
What are your thoughts on that? And do we all remember that, folks? So again, she's prefaced it, her video, like I prefaced mine. We're not saying, oh, because he committed crimes, he didn't deserve to live, but the narrative. Okay, so the media, again, right? If you're going to tell one story, tell the other story as well. Lanita, both men had issues that are not normal. 2 demons had it out, and Floyd lost. Jail time for some years for the tortured death evens it. Okay, Lanita, that's a good point. Caesar, as men, we have to take accountability for the positions we put ourselves in. Caesar, yes. Okay. Facts. Jeffrey, oh, this woman is good and she's telling the truth, because I've read a lot of that. Yeah, and I have too, Jeffrey. A good person, say that again, lamestream media, Baldwin. Right. All right.
And to make sure she didn't leave the living room. So he was playing guard while they ransacked her home looking for drugs and money. They did not find drugs. They ended up taking, I believe, her wallet and her cell phone. Fortunately for her, her neighbor observed what was going on and caught the license plate of the people as they pulled off and called 911. And when 911 was able to, they were able to track down the car of which George Floyd was the driver, and they arrested him. And 2 years later, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for that instance. Now, you can say the media is portraying it like he was just getting his life together after, being released in 2014 following that incident. He was just getting his life together and moved and was going to start afresh. I'd like to believe all of those things, and there's a gap, and he never got in trouble for 5 years until this incident when the police were called on him again. But you are defying common sense to believe that this person suddenly became an exemplary character, but happened to be high on fentanyl and methamphetamine, and trying to use a bill, a fake bill, to purchase something. And so, in my opinion, George Floyd was a criminal. He was a criminal.
And that's what, of course, Vince Ellison just said. People get mad and angry when someone says that, but that doesn't change the fact that it's true. And again, we're not saying because you're a criminal, you deserve to die. No one is saying that. Floyd was buck wild back in the day when crack first popped out in the 80s. Oh, wow. Yeah, Lanita. Yeah, a lot of people Made some bad choices during those times. Remember when Nancy Pelosi had her knees on the ground and it was disgraceful? Yes, Dorian, she had to get help to get back up. She walking around with that kente cloth on, looking like a clown. Caesar, growing up, I was always taught you live by the streets, you die by the streets. Moral of the story, stay out of the streets. Caesar, yes. Facts, go home. The streets are bad. Anthony, the chance of me dying from a cop kneeling on my neck is slim to none. I don't put myself in those situations. That's another fact. Great point. Here we go.
And just because he was a criminal doesn't mean he deserved to die at the knee of a police officer. But it does mean that I am not going to play a part of the broken Black culture that always wants to martyr criminals, who wants to pretend they were these upstanding human beings that just wanted to help society, that just wanted to reach out and uplift society. And he has a rap sheet that is long, that is dangerous. He was an example of a violent criminal his entire life. Okay, up until the very last moment. Now, again, I want to be clear. This is not a defense for Derek Chauvin. No one that I have spoken to, no one in the news is defending Derek Chauvin. He is getting what he has coming to him. Okay, great. But why are we pretending that this criminal should be upheld as a citizen, as a martyr in Black America? A martyr for a fake narrative, by the way. Police brutality, racially motivated police brutality is a myth. Okay, so let's get into that. Not only are we using this death, right, and allowing it to cause these riots and protests, pretending this was some upstanding citizen in the Black community who was tackled down and killed for no reason, right? Not only are we allowing it to inspire riots in which Black people are dying, in which actual upstanding Black citizens are dying. Case in point, I'm sure you guys have all now seen David, the sheriff that just...
Remember that? Remember when BLM was out protesting and they were calling him the N-word? Remember that? And when he was shot and killed, no one cared. He's Black, but Black Lives Matter is out there protesting for Black people. Tell me another one, folks. Yeah, I remember. Anyone remember David Dorn when he was killed? Yeah, they were. Yeah, but Black Lives Matter is out there for Black people. Get out of here. What a scam. At least Dr. King was smart enough to pick Rosa Parks to represent the oppression of Black America. Right. He was smart. Yes. Very Cammy, he was. And what really grinds my gears is when white people showed during the Black Power salute was embarrassing. Okay, Dorian, I'm not sure what you're telling me here. All right, I'll continue.
Just was shot and killed because he was trying to protect a pawn shop. Please look him up if you haven't seen it. I'm blanking on his last name. His first name is David, who was shot and killed for trying to protect a pawn shop from looters, an upstanding citizen, an actual head of a police. He was the head of a police his entire life, 77 years old, did everything right, right? So we now have to kill upstanding Black citizens because a non-upstanding...
Yeah, so if you're going to make someone a martyr, why not this gentleman who's led an exemplary life? But no one cared when he was shot and killed. No one cared.
Black citizen, a career Black criminal died. Now, did he deserve to die in that manner? No.
Nope.
I can't say it enough. No, he didn't deserve to die in that manner. But I will be damned if the rest of us upstanding Black citizens have to suffer because of this incident that rarely ever happens in America. So here are some numbers for you people that are still believing that police brutality is a real, racially motivated police brutality is a real thing. First and foremost, okay, you have a 25% higher chance as a violent white criminal of dying at the hands of a police officer than you do as a Black criminal. Last year, a total of 9 unarmed black men were killed by police officers, and 19 white men were killed by police officers.
And again, those of you who are new to the channel, how many of you were on the channel when I did a video on that? And I had statistics, I had receipts. But when white people are killed by the police, no one says anything. How many of you were on the channel when I did a video with those stats? Been there, done that. I did that already with the statistics. In the words of the late, great Whitney Houston, I have the receipts. Yes, Dorian. Brother OG says, speak, Candy. Yes, she will speak. Chris, you were okay. Yeah, I did a video on this. And I talked about when white people are killed by the police, no one says a word because it doesn't fit their narrative. The narrative is all white police officers are racist and they're killing black people. When white people are killed or someone else is killed, no one cares. It's not all over the news. No one cares because it doesn't fit the narrative. Right, Dorian?
For those of you that aren't good at mathematics, right, you might be thinking, oh, but Candace, white people represent 60% of the population and black people represent just 13% of the population. It doesn't matter what percentage of the population you represent. It matters what percentage of the violent criminal community you represent. And unfortunately, black community commits a disproportionate amount of crimes compared to the white community. Let me tell you, 6% of the population, right? Black men, 6% of the population account for 44% of all murders in this country, according to 2018 statistics. That is what you call a gap. And yet white people who represent 60% of the population, we represent 13, black men are 6%, only represent 50% of all the murders, right? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. A 6-point variation in a community where we are extreme minorities. We commit 50% of all violent offenses, evenly split, and we're only 13% of the population. Okay? So we have a lot more encounters with police officers. And don't say the police officers are coming around because we're black. I'm talking about violent criminals. I'm talking about murder. 44% of murders. Okay? You want to talk about real statistics? The police officers have way more to be fearful of in the black community than the other way around, okay? We commit, on average, a police officer is 18 and a half times more likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around, okay? So this entire narrative is complete smoke and mirrors. It's all made up. It's just election fodder. It's white versus black because it's an election year, not because black Americans are suffering at the hands of police officers more than white Americans. Do some police officers do the wrong thing? Yes. I don't think there's anybody in the world who has not encountered a police officer and thought this person is an absolute jerk who is power tripping, whether you are black or white. We know they exist. And we know they're always going to exist, by the way, because they're human.
Not just police officers. We have teachers that power trip, people in other positions that power trip. So, but again, the narrative is that they push in America. White supremacy and racism, and all police officers are racist and they're killing black people. Jeffrey, I live in a black community, and if we call the police, they don't come here until 7 hours later. Oh wow, Jeffrey, I'm sorry. Caesar, where is BLM when all the black women who've been unalived by illegal? Caesar, I did a video on that earlier. I mentioned that. So I'll drop the link so you can go back and check it out. Yeah, they don't say anything because it doesn't fit the narrative. And God knows they don't want to say, they never say anything about their illegals that are out here committing crimes. And God knows if the Curry Queen had won, they'd still be letting them go, unleashed on the rest of us. Yeah, Caesar, I mentioned that lady, the mother of two, and those, I think it was like 5 of them, and they're like young. 13, one was 13, 14, 17, and then there are two that were in their 20s. I was like, whoa, how you doing, Shadow Seeker? Charles, like I said, I love Candace. She does not play. Charles, she does not. Shadow Seeker, a police officer pulled me over because my husband was the registered owner of my car. I had the flu and I was pulled over very ill. Okay, Shadow Seeker. Remember the line in Minister Society, the hunt is on and you are the prey. Yes, Dorian. It's true, Lynn. I have receipts for it too and phone calls. Wow, Lanita. Poverty breeds crime the most. Lanita, boom. Lack of morals and unacceptable behavior on all levels is pushed by the media as normal. Lanita, for those that don't know, is a retired educator. So when she speaks, you can tell she sounds like an educator because she quotes a lot of the narrative things you've heard me say. Well, she's experienced some of the same things I've experienced. Okay. You like that Curry Queen, brother. Oh, gee, you like, yeah, I call her the Curry Queen. I call her Scamala. Yes, so Curry Queen, you like that one. All right. Yeah. Okay, let me go. Dorian, Cammy, honestly, I think black people would be better off alone instead of trying to fit in with white people. That's Dorian's statement there. Okay, here we go.
Beings, and sometimes human beings suck. In fact, if you want to attack a community for accidental slayings or brutality, did you know that doctors accidentally kill 250,000 people every year because of mistakes? Do you know there's been doctors that have been arrested for being serial killers that just were killing people because they wanted to? Do we protest and boycott doctors? Do we assume all doctors are horrible human beings because some doctors are? Or do we realize that society is not perfectible? People suck in every profession. It is no excuse to paint society with a broad brush. It is certainly no excuse to accept a Democrat narrative, okay, that Black people are being disproportionately hunted down by police officers because of the color of their skin. You want to know the best way to avoid not being brutalized by a police officer is to limit the amount of encounters you need to have with them, especially when it comes to violent crimes. Okay, I am not going to stand for this continual bottom-feeding narrative of us martyring people that have had 5, 6, 7 stints in prison and then pretending they were upstanding heroes to our community.
No lies have been detected so far in this video. Tijuana Border Jumper, thank you for your super chat, love. I just shared some hearts in the comment section for you. Tijuana says, I was manhandled by police, but I cooperated and I lived to tell the tale. I still hold no ill will to sworn officers. Tijuana Border Jumper. And this is what I tell students, because, you know, I teach high school. Sometimes, and I'll say that to my students whenever, if they come and they say, I was in Miss, I don't know, make up, fill in the blank. I was in Miss Jones's class, second period. She treated me horribly. And, you know, and I tell students, look, you don't know what happened before you got in to her classroom. Same thing with police officers. They've been dealing with knuckleheads all day. I don't think everything is racial. Sometimes they've been dealing with knuckleheads all day. Here you come, you know, same thing. Teachers do the same thing, right? So they may lash out at you because they're still dealing with some other things that they dealt with earlier in the day. Teachers do the same thing, folks. I'm telling you. So Tijuana, that's the right attitude to have, because you're only hurting yourself, right? If you, now I hate all the police and they're this and they're that. Just, it's not that serious. And I tell my students, if you're ever pulled over, comply. Yes, sir. No, sir. If someone mistreats you, you just get their name and badge number. As educators and police officers we're both taught to de-escalate a situation. Now, do we have some police officers that escalate situations? Yes. Do we have some teachers who escalate situations? Yes. What I tell my students, if they're in a teacher's classroom, things are going south, I told them to quietly get up, grab your things, walk down to the front office and tell them, I was in Miss Jones's class. I was getting ready to curse her out. I did not want to get in trouble. So I came to the office. And I tell my students, you can't get in trouble that way. I said, leave the room quietly. Don't try to slam the door off the hinges, right? So that's just where we are. Caesar, the young lady in Texas who's on her way to the Air Force Academy. Yes. Caesar, BLM is not going to say anything. It has to be white. It has to be someone white killing or harming someone black. If not, you don't hear a word. That's their narrative. That's how they try to stay relevant. And it's sad, but that's what they do. Jeffrey, I worked in schools putting chairs and desks together for the classrooms coming out of 53-foot trail in the middle of the summer. Okay, Jeffrey. Nope, Caesar, no problem with the typos. Love, you're fine. 59-year-old eyes don't work like they used to. Caesar, I don't give a care. They're working. That's all we care about. Boom. You're here, and that's all that counts. Follow the route. Yeah, Dorian. The way I see dealing with cops is like dealing with a tiger, and don't put your hands in that tiger cage, right, Dorian? And again, I've been pulled over by white, black, Hispanic. It doesn't matter. Whoever pulls me over, yes, sir, no, sir. First of all, when I was pulled over, I had done something wrong. Speeding, and I think one time what is it? That little tag had expired. The little, you have to put the little sticker for the right year. So when you're being pulled over, I was never just pulled over randomly for no good reason. When I was pulled over, something was wrong. So I was, yes, sir, no, sir. Sometimes a white police officer would say, ma'am, slow down, and let me go. Sometimes a black police officer, even though I was nice and respectful to him too, sometimes a black police officer would write me a ticket. It didn't matter. I was respectful to anyone who pulled me over. Lanita, teachers and police burn out. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Fellow professionals have to check them when they become unhit. Lanita, as an educator, you've seen some teachers on some power trips. I just finished up year 27. I've seen some teachers on a power trip, right? And I've seen students who finally snapped and cursed them out. And I'm thinking to myself, God, please don't let that student, I'm thinking, please don't let them get in trouble, because I know that teacher. And some of them are on a power trip. Tijuana. You said Mrs. Jones is going to hate me. Yeah, but Tijuana, to your point, that's how it is, right? So, and everything is not racial like they try to make it out to be. It's not. Sometimes people are having a bad day. Sometimes, people have things going on in their life. And just because they're a different color than you does not mean they are racist. I'm so sick of that narrative. All right, here we go.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Excuse my language. It's absolute bullshit. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to play pretend. I'm tired of sitting here and being called a coon or an Uncle Tom because I won't play this bottom feeding game with you. If you want to hang up posters of criminals on your wall and talk about them as your martyrs, do it. Do it. You can do it. Kobe Bryant was my idol. Okay, I'll keep a photo of Kobe Bryant. You can keep one of George Floyd and pretend he was an upstanding human being that just once or twice put a gun across a pregnant woman's belly. Could you imagine that woman right now? That black woman, by the way, right? Watching everybody pretend this person was an upstanding human being who just...
Yeah, what about the pregnant black woman? No one cares about, BLM didn't care about her, right? That's what I thought.
At the age of 42 and 5 prison stints was going to get his life together. I mean, it's embarrassing. We are embarrassing in that regard, right? This is why we have a cycle and a toxic culture, because nobody wants to tell the truth in Black America. It's so easy to be a victim. It's so easy to ask white people to bow down and apologize and do all these things for us. It's crap. It's crap. It's a lie. It's a farce. Our biggest problem is us, okay? It's why we don't talk about it when Black on Black crime happens. It's why we don't talk about it when 40 Black people are killed in one weekend during Memorial Weekend in Chicago. We don't want to talk about any of that stuff. We don't want to talk about Baltimore. We don't want to talk about New Jersey. We don't want to talk about any of these places where Black people are being slaughtered by other Blacks, because that would mean that we had to be personally accountable, right? That would mean personal responsibility. We don't do personal responsibility in our community. We don't do it. We blame white people, right?
Everything is because of slavery, white supremacy, and racism. Those are the 3 go-tos straight from the Democratic playbook. No one is held accountable. There is no responsibility or accountability. Boom.
We only point a camera to white people when they do something, even though we do it at a way higher rate to ourselves, right? We celebrate our drug dealers. We're the only community, right, that would ever create hashtags to free people from prison because they committed crimes, like free Meek Mill, free this rapper, free this rapper. How hard is it to not spend multiple times in prison? How difficult is that? Is that too hard for us? Is that way too high of a mountain for us to scale, to do the right thing, to be upstanding citizens? That is the call to action that I have for Black America with Brexit. Like, why do we keep fulfilling this narrative? What do you think the perception of us, by the way, is on the outside? You ever look at the comments? You ever go into like an anonymous blog and see what people say? Oh, just Black people being Black people. I see those racist comments. Oh, just Black people got to riot. Black people got to be Black people. You know how they are. Oh, just Black people being ignorant. That is the perception. When people get to be anonymous and talk about us, that's what they think about us, right? They think that we are the kind of people that will forever uphold criminals as the martyrs of our society, that we will never take account for the things that we do wrong, right? That we don't have it within us to educate ourselves to get ahead. Mm-hmm. And that for those of us that actually do it, well, we get called coons, right? You got Condoleezza Rice, she's a coon. Larry Elder, he's a coon. Yep. Dr. Ben Carson, brain surgeon, first ever to perform.
So again, if you're going to create some busts and some murals, Condoleezza Rice, why not? So, I mean, people who have contributed, I mean, I think we said that a few videos ago. Dr. Ben Carson, they don't say anything about him. So, no.
The surgery of splitting twins that are connected by the head. He's a coon, right? What a loser he is. What a stupid guy he is. Kanye West says he's not going to be told to do it because of the color of his skin. He's a coon. He's lost. He's in the sunken place. The sunken place. That's where we all are, right? Because we demand more and we will get more out of this society because we're going to get ahead, right? That's what's going to happen. We're going to get ahead. Black conservatives get ahead because we don't subscribe. Because you're not going to catch me outside trying to grab a TV pretending that it's because a martyr named George Floyd got killed. Okay? I'm a big believer that no matter what color you are, you do stupid things, you win stupid prizes. Okay? Yep. We have to do better. We have to teach our kids better, or we're not going to get ahead, right? Anyways, this is just a rant because I have been feeling super, super, super annoyed at these depictions.
Yeah, and again, I had to share that because, like I said, she brings it. Where are we, Charles? Cops are people, and we all know they are not perfect. I have had some problems with some cops, and it was not good for me. Guns to the head, knee on my neck, and did nothing to anyone, but I hold no grudge. Okay, Charles. Again, when you run into people, again, people get on power trips. They do. Police officers, teachers, other people who have positions, little positions of power over other people. And some people just take it too far. Where are we? Dorian said, I've dealt with racism, both white and Black people. I didn't complain or cry about it. I just move on. For what? Complain's not going to change anything. Caesar said, why has that pregnant Black woman never been interviewed? Okay. Boom. Okay, James said rap was better with the, what was that? Sugar Hill gang. Okay. Rap started to become one once Tupac and Biggie died. Okay. Yes, James, Sugar Hill gang. Okay. I got called a coon by Black people because I live in the suburbs and I talk like a white guy. Dorian, if you're a Generation Xer like myself, we don't care what people call us. We don't. Okay. I was watching a video here on YouTube, and I think it was like early 70s. This Black family were doing well for themselves, and they moved to the suburbs, and then they drove back through where the projects were. And people were lambasting them. How could you leave us? And who wants to live there? I mean, when you better yourself, you want to, it's just, hey, I don't get that mentality. I'm always trying to strive to do better. Lanita, sad today that inspirational people are hated for being respectable and smart. Yes. Condoleezza Rice. Oh, I love Condoleezza Rice. Oh my God. I actually sent an email. I sent her an email trying to get her on the show, but she's busy, so whatever. But I love Condoleezza Rice. Jeffrey, I could too. Okay, it might break my hip. Jeffrey, please don't break your hip, dear. They hated Kanye for saying that slavery was a choice. Yes, Dorian, that's when they turned on him. Candace had black fatigue before we knew what it was. Candace, Larry Elder, Dr. Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams, who else? All of these people had black fatigue before the term was coined. Facts. Boom. Tijuana, if they, the Dems, erect a statue of Condoleezza Rice, the sun would collapse. You got that right. They'd never do that. She doesn't fit the narrative, right? Because she's gotten out here and made a decent life for herself, and very intelligent woman. So they, no, they can't use her. She doesn't fit the narrative. Kami, I remember seeing a documentary about the LA riots after the fact, and there was a man in it bragging about all the TVs and electronics he stole. He was showing all of them throughout his granny's house. Yeah. Okay, James. Charles, I grew up in Pontiac, Michigan. All right. And I remember the school busing being blown up. Bad times. Wow, Charles. Okay. Who are you talking about, Monique? Okay. I think you're talking about Condi. Condi's doing well. What university is she? I forgot. I sent her an email probably a couple of years back. And I just admire, her work ethic and just everything. She just always had class and style. Yeah, oh yeah, Monique, I know. Yeah. Dr. Claude Anderson is great. He talks about Black wealth and how racism is an economic issue. Dory, yeah, I know Dr. Claude Anderson as well. So that's all I wanted to talk with you about, because a lot of people are talking like, hit the like button for me, folks. We're almost to 50 likes. A lot of people are talking about, is this a possibility? But in reality, it can't happen. Because Tampon Tim, he's not. No, he's Chauvin is a white male. So in the eyes of the Democrats, bad, 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 evil, evil, evil. He like you said, as Vince Ellison said, Jesus Christ could come down here and say he's innocent. They're like, nope, nope, he's staying where he is. So that's just how it goes. Connie, personally, I don't like the name calling on both sides. It's not necessary. How about calling people by their name? Okay. Who are we talking about, Connie? All right. Where are we here? Okay. Lanita, ever see Mrs. Rice play classical? Oh, yes. Yes, I've seen her play classical piano. Oh, just beautiful. Jeffrey, James, teacher gave us permission. We're not disturbing the class yet. Jeffrey, behave before I put you in the corner. Boom. Monique, I remember people blame Sonia Massey for her death. Yeah, yeah. Charles Hill, I wish, but it's not like that, unfortunately. All right, we made it to 50 likes anyway. I'll take it. Yes, Jeffrey, I'll put you in the corner, dear. Jeffrey needs a timeout, is what you're saying? That's okay, Charles. You're fine, dear. I just wanted to come on and share that with you. I might type that in. Lanita, since you brought that up, I might pull that up and watch Condoleezza Rice playing. Yeah, she's great. Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears is another woman to look up to. Yes, right. So Tijuana, when they put that statue, that hideous statue in Times Square of, well, we all said it looks like Big Tish. This is what symbolism, and horrible symbolism at that, Democrats. well, there are white men there in Times Square. We need someone black. And this is what they give you. They're mocking you. You don't know that? People, wake up. Come on. Smarten up. James says, I have nothing to do with how Jeffrey is behaving. All right, James. We'll see. Woo! That's all right. It's Sunday. And we're getting ready to get out of here. And I don't know. I may go live. Just depends on what happens. If not, I'll just wait and come on Thursday or Friday. Just depends on what's going on, folks. But I just wanted to know what your thoughts were in reference to this, because it's all over the internet. People are talking about it, and people getting anxiety. Oh my God, he's getting out of jail. And they don't even know how this stuff works. So that's what's going on. And I hope you enjoyed it. James, you tried to get... Okay, James. She said hello to you, James. I saw it earlier. Anyone have any other questions? I enjoyed this. And I got to do some research. Tijuana border jumper. I want to find out more info on Winsome Sears. Because I again, now that school is out, I can do a little more researching. Jeffrey, no James from making Miss Lynn on. Lanita, thank you, dear, for dropping in. I hope I get a notice because YT never left me. Charles, make sure you have it on all. If you hit subscribe, let me see, where is it? Make sure it is on all notifications. When you hit subscribe, hit the drop down arrow. It says personalized, none, and unsubscribe. Make sure it's on personalized. And I think, from my understanding, you will receive all notifications, if that makes sense. Okay. Tijuana border jumper. Even Wheezy Jefferson will be better than that statue. Tijuana. Well, we're moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment. I still look at that show. Okay, Charles, thank you. Connie, you know, like, I'm Italian and we're called greaseballs and other names. Just an example. Every race has a name of... Oh, yeah, Connie. And you know what, Connie? I guess at my age, like I was telling Dorian, who said that people were calling him a coon, we're Generation Xers. Connie, I'm not sure if you're a Generation Xer. I don't give a care who calls me what. I do not. Jeffrey, I love you too. And you still have to behave, Jeffrey, because I will beat your knuckles with the rulers. Boom. I have watched you a bunch of times. I just never said anything. Charles, yeah, start chiming in, dear. We'll be glad to have you. Hey, the more the merrier. And I love for everyone to chime in, because I like engagement. You know, I like people talking. And again, I don't mind talking, but I also like to know your thought process. What you think about a subject matter? James, I'm a Guinea and darn proud of it. Hey, Vincent Waters, like, how you doing, dear? Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you have enjoyed this content. Boom. Let me see. I was supposed to drop another, let me see. I had another video I was supposed to share with someone, but we've been talking about these crooks forever. Let me go back. Oh my God. I was going to, for my new folks, I was going to drop. Okay, here's one on Al Sharpton and the Black Liberals. Oh my God. Won't they just go away? Charles, I'm dropping another link. Check that out. When you watch the videos, leave comments. I always go back and respond. Hit the little thumb. Those are the like buttons. Thank you. There's a photo of Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears toting a long gun supporting the second. Yes, Tijuana, I've seen that. Mother Jefferson, Tijuana, Mother Jefferson, and her Bloody Mary. Yes, Tijuana, I still look at that show. I'm stuck in a time warp. My coworkers are always telling me, you need to look at these new shows. I'm like, nah, I'm staying. I'm stuck in a time warp. Most of the shows I watch are from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Yeah, I'm so stuck. But hey, you know, what can you say, right? I've enjoyed you, and again, depending on what happens, Charles Hill, yeah, depending on what happens, I may go live before Thursday or Friday. If something happens, I'll try to jump on. You have to type my channel in and click on live. I don't know why YT is not showing when I'm live any longer. I don't know. Rose on the Love Boat going to Fantasy Island. Yes, I still look at that. Yes. Tijuana, you're a boomer. Boom. Larry, Roland Peacock has a lot of our old programs that is Peacock free or paid? I don't have cable. I just use my old antenna. And I thought about that today. They made us get rid of all those old antennas on top of our houses because remember, everyone had cable at one point. Then the smart people, all of us were like, nah, we're tired of paying all that money for all these channels. We only look at 2 or 3 and you have 200. And I'm thinking, I thought about that today. We went right back to where we were, antennas on top of the house. I love it. Yes, Jeffrey. No, I still look at the Dukes of Hazzard. Today I was looking at Alice. Yeah. 69 is my nothing. Oh, Connie, you're older than yeah, Generation X. Yeah. Yeah. And I tell myself, who cares? Right? Charles, I'm a Generation X. We have Generation Xers and boomers in here. Yes, the best. That's why we have a good time as well. All right. Okay, I guess we will go and prepare for Monday. Vipa, Anthony, I didn't even know an antenna would. Yes, Anthony, I have one on top of my house. My aunt still has an antenna on her TV. Boom. Monique, does the TV work? Wow. Oh my God. Okay, Laurie, I thought, okay, Peacock, yeah, that's an app. Okay. I'm also look at Me TV and Connie, love this channel, and Miss Rowland. Connie, I love you as well. We have a good time here. Yeah, we do. And I love the fact that we may have a differing opinion on a topic, but we don't get angry. We don't, oh, I'm not coming to this channel anymore. Because again, we don't subscribe to groupthink. Everyone's an individual. That's why we don't support the Democratic Party, because it's groupthink. It's a cult. Over here, everyone has their own individual thoughts. I love it. Yeah, Me TV, Antenna TV, I look at all that. Grit. Charles, you too. So again, just check and see when I'll be live, because YouTube may not show it. So you just may have to randomly check yourself. I usually go live 5:30, 6:30, something like that. Except on Sundays. Sundays, it's always 4:00 p.m. And today I'm double dipping. I did one at 4 and now I'm doing this one. Connie, yes, they're too sensitive. I told you, I say things all the time. And students are like, oh, you hurt my feelings. I'm like, what? Come on. They're too sensitive. I'm like, if that hurt your feelings, you're never going to make it. The world does not care about your feelings, ma'am, sir. Vipa said, this channel elevates and educates. Vipa, that's the point. That's what I try to do. And again, we have a good time. We learn, we laugh. That's what it's all about. Life is short. And honestly, I feel I have more years behind me than I do in front of me. So I want to laugh. I don't want to be crying and depressed. Cammy, Rawhide, Bonanza, Gunsmoke, all of that. Yes. Cammy, fun fact, my living room TV is never off. It's on Pluto. It plays gun. It has a Gunsmoke channel. That TV never turns off. And then in my TV in my bedroom, I watch The Rifleman and Gunsmoke, The Big Valley, any Western show I love. Your grandmother. Oh, Cammy. Beaver, Leave It to Beaver. I watch that sometimes. All right. Yeah, so getting back to what Vipa said, this channel elevates and educates. Yes, it does. This channel, if you look up in the description box at the bottom, it says E3. E3 means educate, empower, and encourage. And that's what we try to do to all viewers. So that's why I tell people, hey, we may not all agree, but we still have a good time. And that's what it's all about. Life, love, laughter. Why not? I mean, we all have problems in our lives, but if we can come here, learn a little bit, laugh a little bit, hey, makes me happy. Yes, Jeffrey. Yes, Laurie, it does. It does. You can't escape them. If you're online, you have the ads. What are you going to do? Gen Z and Gen Alphas are so sensitive and they cry and complain over the dumbest stuff. Yes, Cammy, I can't deal with it. I cannot. So I hope you all enjoyed it. And again, just check. I'll be live again, maybe Thursday or Friday. If something major happens, I'll jump on. Since I'm not I'm working, but I'm not teaching, so I don't have to worry about getting up, going and teaching the next day. So I can. It's easier for me to jump on. Have a great evening and great week, Miss Rowland, in our community. You too, Connie. If you're leaving, let me go ahead and say goodbye to Connie, and I have to send my little waving goodbye and heart. There you go, Connie. Yeah, Connie, we enjoyed you. Thank you for being an integral part of the channel and hope to see you soon. Florida, yes, have a blessed evening and week. Yes, all of you. I love you all. Be safe. And I will see you sometime this week, Thursday or Friday, or something major happens. I'll be on before that. Love you. Be safe. God bless you. And you know where I'm going now? I'm going straight to the comment section. I'll stay there and talk to you as long as you're there. Thank you again for spending your very valuable time here at the Roland's Reviews YouTube channel. All right, here we go.